Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Dalton Floyd. I live in Buena Vista, Virginia, or a well-known area right next to me, Lexington, Virginia. And I am currently 18 years old, and I run a Guillain-Barré syndrome Facebook awareness page. And in this video I'm going to be telling my story and hopefully spreading some awareness to people that don't know about this disease. Let's get into it. What's up everybody, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to a unique video at that. This is going to be a video that is different from all of my other ones. It's actually for 3 different audiences. It's for my YouTube audience, my subscribers that are watching at the moment, my Guillain-Barré Syndrome Survivors Facebook page, as well as the GBS Awareness Society fundraiser that's going on whenever they decide to watch this. It's going to be on April 28th, I believe. So recently, the sister of a woman named Jas Gurm reached out to me and wanted me to tell my story in a video form and try to spread some awareness of GBS itself, as well as some ways that you can catch GBS before it hits you too hard. And I love the idea. I love sharing my story, but it's just unfortunate that this stuff like this has to happen with GBS. My condolences are with you and everybody at the fundraiser when you're watching this. Just wanting to let you know that although I've already told you through messages that my support is with you, I'm telling you again through these videos. My condolences for everybody out there who's lost somebody through GBS. And now I'm going to tell my story. So my story wasn't really as bad as certain people that have gotten it before, but it still hit me really hard. Like, this is a disease that paralyzed me from the waist down, so it's nothing to be taken lightly. One thing that Jas's sister wanted me to highlight in this video is the early symptoms that you could catch early so that you could possibly prevent GBS and possibly not let it hit you as hard as it should, or could. And so my early symptoms were that my body just got completely weak all over. My arms were weak, my legs were weak, and I really didn't have any strength in my body at the time. This was when I was 6 years old. So at the time I was about 6 years old, going on 7. I got GBS in October of 2005, and it hit me rather quickly. There were things leading up to it that we should have caught on to. Like I said, the weakness all throughout my body really hit me hard. I had pain in my shoulders and ankles, so those were really big, significant areas, and that's how I can still remember them, because I remember key moments where my shoulders were hurting and my ankles were just killing me to the point where I didn't even want to touch them, much less anybody else. So when we went to the doctor about this, they said that I had the flu going around, or possibly pneumonia at the time. It seemed a lot worse than pneumonia at the time, but like any other concerned parents, my parents wanted to get a second opinion, or maybe a third opinion. We eventually went to UVA, and now at that first occurrence, we went to a pediatrics place in Lexington, Virginia. I can't remember the name of it at the moment, but following that visit, we went to UVA Hospital, the University of Virginia Hospital. It's about 3 hours away, I think, maybe 2.5 hours from where I live. So it was a good drive, but the reason that we went there so suddenly was because I woke up one morning, I had gotten sick everywhere, and I was in complete pain, and like I said, the ankle problems were still flaring up. So we went to UVA, and by the time we arrived to UVA, I couldn't walk. I pretty much just could not walk. I was paralyzed from the waist down. It happened that fast. Now when I say it happened that fast, I'm gonna say that it happened, these symptoms had been showing up maybe a week or 2 weeks before this happened, before we made this visit. So when we got to UVA, I remember being in the emergency room, and my ankles were just really killing me, and I could not move them at all. And my dad wanted to massage them to try to help me out. For my mindset at the time, I did not want anybody touching my ankles. Now, I've heard recently that people like the massaging and like that it helps them, but for me at the time, I just couldn't bear anybody to touch my ankles. So we went through about 2 to 4 hours of waiting for a room at the hospital, and we eventually got a room. My complete stay at UVA was 7 days, and through that stay, I was bedridden. I had to go to school. Since I was there for so long, I had to get work sent over and participate in school through the hospital. And while it was still reviews, like it was stuff that I had learned before, but it was something I had to go through. And I met other people in the hospital that it was interesting to hear their stories as well. I didn't quite get to know them as well as I want to now, because that would be really cool to talk to them. But it was cool meeting other patients, as weird as that may sound. And I got many great visitors, not videos. And in those visitors, I had my school principal show up with her husband. I believe he worked in the area at the time. Got my principal to show up. When my principal showed up at the hospital, it was really satisfying because I was in second grade at the time, I believe, and I had known this principal since I was in kindergarten. We were really close. It was great to see her, and she showed up with a huge card about this big, with it was a great get well card from my class, and it was just, it was good to be appreciated, I guess, by seeing that card. Through all my other visitors, I had tons of family show up. And when I had that family show up, I have a sister that's about, she's 16 now. She's showed up in past vlogs before, and when she showed up, she was about 5 at the time, maybe, and she showed up by herself one time. Well, aside from the people that brought her there, and she was pretty scared to see me in that situation, not being able to move and care for myself. And I've also been in that situation where it's terrifying, for lack of a better word, to see a close family member in that sort of situation, bedridden. So for people out there that might have GBS or any disease that leaves you in the hospital for that reason, I guess, if your siblings feel really uncomfortable around you, I understand. I mean, it's hard to care for your siblings in that situation, and it's really uncomfortable. There were many tests done to me in that time, where most of the tests, it was all about them just trying to find out what I had. They didn't know that I had GBS until they did the spinal tap in my spine, obviously. But up until that point, they had no idea. I also had no reflexes. I guess that's a good tip to, or good thing to throw out there. But they did all kinds of like nerve tests to see how my nerves were reacting to certain tests. They did tests that wiped my memory completely, so I don't even have memory of those. I had to have my parents tell me about it years ago, and I was just mind blown that it even happened, because this was years after GBS even happened to me, and I was hearing about these tests that I had never seen, or I don't remember. So had nerve tests done, had all kinds of other tests. It was over 10 years ago, so it's hard for me to remember each specific test. But they finally knew that I had GBS when they did the spinal tap, which is when they insert a needle in your back, I believe, and they extract fluid from it to test it and see what they can get from it. Once they found out I had GBS, at least that was comforting. We had never heard of GBS at the time. We're just from a small town in Virginia, so like, people don't really get GBS around here that often. And GBS is a rare disease to begin with, so I mean, it's understandable how GBS is so unheard of within these within communities and families that get it. So we had doctors explain it to us, from what I imagine. I remember them speaking about it, but for the most part, it was all about recovery once they knew. From there, once they knew about GBS and once they knew about what I had, uh, like I said, it was all about recovery. And from there, I wanted to walk again. That was the main goal before I got out of the hospital, was to walk again. And the faintest memory that I have right now is me walking down the hallway, holding one of my parents' hands and holding um, my IV thing, the mobile IV thing or whatever. I don't know what it's called. But walking down the hallway, my feet were so sensitive just from taking steps, because I hadn't walked in so long. It had been maybe 4 days since I had walked, maybe 5 days, and I was finally walking again and getting great encouragement from the nurses, and it was really uplifting to be able to do that before I got out of the hospital. And I'm still very grateful that I'm in that position, or I'm in this position today in the recovery process. Before I left the hospital, we met this little baby named Christopher. When we were leaving the hospital, it was a good memento to give him one of my balloons that one of my family members gave to me. So as we were leaving and departing from the hospital, we gave him my balloon, and I still remember that to this day. I still remember what he looks like. It was a really cool moment. And once I got out of the hospital, I went through a year of physical therapy, and where and how that happened, I went to my local hospital. I'm not sure how often it was, but all I remember from physical therapy is getting my flexibility back and getting strength in my legs back, and overall just trying to get back to a normal state of mind as far as physical exercise goes. And it was really uplifting to see the progress that I made during that time. One side note is that I'm a huge professional wrestling fan, and about 2 weeks before this next event happened, we had seen a wrestling show at a local high school, and one of the wrestlers there was a former WWE wrestler, and my physical therapist was related to him through marriage, I believe. If I got that wrong, I apologize, but I just know that they knew each other personally and could get into contact to meet me one day. I had not known about this, and one day I was at school, still in the second grade, and Maven Huffman, a professional wrestler, just shows up out of nowhere. Uh, Larger than life at the time, because I had never met a professional wrestler that up close and on such a personal level. But after that, we went into the gym and we were able to talk more, and he talked to me about what I had been through and how significant it was to my life. And I still remember the pictures from that. I have pictures of me and him hanging up in my wall. Uh, it was a great time. And lastly, I hope I've covered everything that I wanted to in this video, but I just wanted to do a plug for my Facebook page. It is Guillain-Barré Syndrome Survivors. It is going to be in the description below, and I started this page back in 2011, and going on 6 years. On June 22nd, it'll be 6 years that I've been doing this page. Almost daily, but trying to do it daily. We've been overloaded recently, and I'm trying my best to keep going on that page. When I first created this page, I guess I was about 12 at the time. I just wanted to create the page to find other survivors, because I didn't know how many people had GBS around the world. So I wanted to find other survivors and discuss my story with them, and probably share similarities and see what we can talk about. And from that point until now, my goals are now to spread awareness through these videos and other kinds of personal media outlets. Also discuss our stories, share our stories. What I also do on the page is that I discuss questions and concerns that patients and family members of patients send in. So if you ever have a question, even if you're at the fundraiser right now and you have a question about like how to comfort a person who has went through GBS or something like that, I share those. Patients comment, I comment, I read the comments all the time. I try my best to read every one of them, but sometimes it's hard. I'm always busy with school and stuff. but I just want to throw it out there. Every single like helps. You don't have to be a GBS patient or a family member of a GBS patient to like our page. I just want to get the awareness out there so anybody can like our page. We welcome everybody. You're welcome to like it, and we will inform you to the best of our ability. I will personally inform you to the best of my ability about GBS. And through this video, I hope that I answered all of your questions. If you ever if you're ever feeling weak everywhere in your body, your arms, your legs, anywhere, and you feel like you're losing what you once were, I can't stress enough how great it is to catch early symptoms. And when I had GBS and I got to the hospital and they found out that it was so, they said that we we were lucky to get me there at that time, because GBS runs gradually. I should have mentioned this before, but GBS gradually runs through the body. It runs from your feet. Well, in my case, it ran from my feet all the way up through my body. Now, we were able to stop it when I got to my waist area, because I was only paralyzed from the waist down and I could still move my arms, and I didn't really have that much weakness in my face. Now, I've heard of plenty of stories where it gets past their waist and people can't move at all. They have to like, they're immobile, they can't speak, and it's honestly really hard for them to get any communication across. Once it gets past your waist, it's so hard to care for. People get sent into the ICU, and it gets to be a really depressing state. And I've read many stories. A Wave of GBS by Scott Earl was a great story that I read of my own during my maybe junior year of high school, where talked about his experience with GBS, and it was really, really uplifting. But I believe that's all. I'll have the link to the GBS Awareness Society fundraiser in the description. For now, I hope all of you guys at the fundraiser are doing well. I hope that some success has come out of the fundraiser. I hope everything goes well there, and I believe that's all I had to say. Um, until my next vlog, until my next video, suggest anything that you want in the comments below. Any new video ideas, any story ideas that you might want me to go further in detail on, please put it in the comments below. I could use any of the feedback that I could possibly get. It really helps out. A like on this video would be really appreciated. It helps me understand that people want more and that I should keep making these videos. So until my next video, I hope that you all have a great day. Stay positive and live for the moment. And remember, Guillain-Barré syndrome is an important disease. It deserves more awareness. Not enough people know about it. And without Guillain-Barré syndrome, I wouldn't be who I am today. It's given me the motivation to really help others through that page, and I appreciate you guys watching this video. Like the video, stay positive, have a great day, guys.